All right then, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Space. So in today's video, we are going to cover Kaspa, its recent price action, and of course, a couple of interesting charts for BTC and alts as well. So if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And of course, a quick disclaimer that this video isn't a financial advice. You should do your own due diligence and research before investing into any cryptocurrency. So without any further ado, let's hop into Kaspa itself. Kaspa is currently trading at 14 cents of a dollar, and it saw a rise of 2.8% in the last 24 hours, which obviously is not a lot. However, it is good. Market cap is currently sitting at $3.1 billion, well, almost 3.2, and 24-hour trading volume is sitting at $53,556,000. So the first thing that I would like to show you guys.
Kaspa. Which cryptocurrency is going to do well like Bitcoin?
In the video, Bitcoin going down and it ended up going up. This guy asks, okay, hello, Dimitri Jeremy. I have a question. Is there any guesses on which cryptocurrency will take off like Bitcoin?
So let me get this straight. You want me to give you the name of a cryptocurrency that will go up 44,000x over a span of 12 years. Okay, I'll bet you, even if I did give you the name, you wouldn't hold it for those 12 years. You'd probably sell it. And that's why you lose money and not make anything. Kaspa.
Yes, Kaspa. So basically, I don't know, I'm not sure if you know this guy, but that's basically Mr. Da Vinci. You can find him on YouTube. And basically, he was investing into BTC 10, 12 years ago, and he was basically advising people to buy $1 worth of Bitcoin 10 years ago. So obviously, I'm pretty sure that his advice now, Kaspa advice, is pretty much accurate too. Of course, not a financial advice, right? I'm not telling you to buy Kaspa unless you really do believe in the project. So on the top of that, AI trading titans set to command 2024 bull run. Kaspa eyes $5 target. Wow, that would be great, obviously. So let's move to this piece of interview with Mr. Charles Hoskinson, founder of Cardano, that is basically talking about Kaspa. And before I'm going to hit play, I would like to point out one thing, that if somebody like Mr. Charles Hoskinson, which is a head of a big project of Cardano, is talking about project like Kaspa that is relatively new on the market, that is a big thing, I believe. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vitalik Buterin was mentioning about Kaspa as well. But all right, without any further ado, let's hop into that video.
Ghost actually is a DAG style architecture in Ethereum.
I know it is the big one at the moment. It's a very fascinating project, and it's some very smart minds working on that too.
Right. So briefly, what we want to do is we want to research Spectre, which came from Avi Zohar and Yonatan Soboplinsky, and extract from Spectre a specification and see if we can pull it into a production cryptocurrency like Zencash.
No, that's like the CPU floor. Spectre.
No, Spectre's a little bit older. So Spectre, the upgrade for Ghost. That's the problem, is that you come up with a super cool name for your product. Somebody steals your damn names for it. If you Google Spectre Avi Zohar, AVI-ZOHAR, basically it's the upgrade of the prior work that they did, which was Ghost, which was what we used in Ethereum. The point is that you can make many blocks in parallel, and that you can have a different way of structuring data and structuring transactions so that you can get as much scalability as possible. And your entire network reaches eventual consistency, but you don't necessarily need to have strong consistency in the beginning. Right. Well, with mining, you kind of have a few parameters that you can adjust to speed up the system. But the one that's probably the most prominent is block interval. So Bitcoin has a 10-minute block interval. All right, so this wasn't chosen randomly. It appears that Satoshi actually did some data science work, and he realized that if you decrease the block interval, the probability of two people finding a bad block at the same time, or like I say, equivalent blocks at the same time, they'll be different, their hash value, but they basically are both valid, is going to increase dramatically. Okay, what does that mean? It means that you now have a competition, because one part of your network sees Alice's block first, and one part of your network sees Bob's block first. So one part thinks Bob is the leader, one part thinks Alice is the leader. Now, what Toshi said is that for this block competition scenario, some people are going to work on Alice's block, and some people are going to work on Bob's block. And whoever gets a block built on top of their block first becomes a legitimate blockchain, and that other block gets discarded. So that means all the work, let's say Bob did, is wasted. And all the work that people invested to build on top of Bob's block is wasted. So orphan blocks are real bad. It's not a good thing.
Is there a way you can pay orphan blocks a part of the block reward or something like that?
Well, that's exactly what Ghost was all about, which said, okay, hang on a second here. Why don't we call these guys uncles? So there's this guy, but we have these uncles. And we're just going to pay all of them, right? So we'll give the primary chain, the longest chain, we're going to give them the bulk of the reward. But then these like other blocks here, we're still going to put them in because they're useful and they're going to be approving different transactions than Alice's block. Right. And we're now not wasting as much work. So what does that mean? We can shrink the block interval. All right, so we can go from 10 minutes to seconds to maybe even sub-seconds. And the whole network doesn't have to see all the blocks before we get working on the next block because it's okay to build in different directions. Now, the problem is that it turns out that Ghost wasn't enough to completely solve this type of problem, whereas Spectre is an attempt to take it on steroids and put rigorous mathematical foundations behind it, build a whole theory of how you can build this web of blocks instead of just one chain.
So basically, to my understanding, that is improved Bitcoin, right? That's what Mr. Charles is referring to, basically. Instead of making that one straight blockchain, Kaspa is basically having that block DAC technology, which is obviously improved and safer, faster, more scalable, etc. Right? So I am impressed that people like Charles are basically talking about Kaspa, etc. That is very good for Kaspa advertising, basically, right? If big heads in crypto space are basically talking about Kaspa, that is going to raising more and more awareness. But all right, let's have a look at this thing over here. There is a little bit of more development going on in Kaspa currency. So even more epic work is being cooked up in the Kaspa, like the cafeteria. Just completed a 6-page mathematical proof of a math formula, which is one of the hunt prevents dust attacks from bloating. So basically, according to my understanding, that improvement is going to prevent any potential hacks on the network, which is obviously good, and Kaspa is improving in terms of that as well. But now finally, let's have a look at the Kaspa dashboard itself. So as of today, 78.9% is currently mined, and the current reward is 131 Kaspa. The next reward is going to be 123, and the next reduction is scheduled in 22 days. So if I'm going to pull out this chart over here, that is going to represent things more closely. That is basically difficulty of mining. As we can see, that chart leads us back to August last year, and as we can see, every single time miners are basically getting cut in terms of rewards, that is increasing the difficulty for miners. And what comes to that? Of course, the price increases as well. So that looks very, very beautiful. And we can just imagine what is going to happen in 1 or 2 years' time at the peak of the bull market. But all right, let's finally have a look into Kaspa chart. So that is daily, guys. And as we can see over here, Kaspa is being rejected from that line of resistance at upper levels of 14 cents, 14.7. And I don't think this is really necessarily bad, okay? So why do I think that way? Let me go back a little bit, and as we can see over here, Kaspa basically saw new all-time highs back in September 2023. Let me pull this out. That is going to be that time. Then we had this consolidation over here and downward momentum, just like we saw over here, right? All-time high, consolidation, and downward momentum, right? Then we broke up and we got rejected of that resistance over here, just like we are being rejected right now. So then Kaspa experienced sideways price action and a little bit of consolidation, and then a huge breakout to the upside. So basically we could expect that breakout to the upside very, very soon. Of course, there are many other things that also signal that Kaspa might see new all-time highs and new price discovery very soon as well. And why do I think that? First of all, BTC broke above that line of resistance at roughly 48,000. This is very important. However, there is another level that I would be looking for BTC to break, and that is going to be around 51, perhaps 52 in that area. If BTC is going to close a daily candle above that area over here on 52k, that is going to give Kaspa much more of a green light to shoot up. But all right, let's have a look at this chart over here to put ourselves into perspective. That's first of all for BTC. Bitcoin is likely to follow its footsteps of gold when the ETF was launched. So we can just imagine how much money it's going to be flowing into BTC and of course alts as well. Now, if we are talking about alts, first of all, the altcoin market cap has broken out of a massive Wyckoff accumulation pattern. So as we can see over here, we are pretty much leaving that phase D and entering phase E. And obviously phase E is going to be a parabola. As we can see over here, altcoin market cap reminds me of previous bull run when price broke out of the downtrend and it was consolidating above the point of breakout for 14 to 15 weeks before it went vertical. So first of all, shoutouts to the Scalping Pro on X or Twitter, however you want to call it. And as we can see over here, we are basically in the same area as we were in a previous bull cycle, which of course we might see a little bit of a dip, but it's kind of obvious what is going to come in the coming weeks and months. Let's have a look at this chart over here. So many people seem caught up in a short-term price action, but the bigger picture looks incredibly bullish. As we can see over here, we are in that green zone, similar as in the previous bull cycle, and we also have a bullish cross on MACD coming in. So that's very, very good for Kaspa. So what do I personally expect for Kaspa in terms of price action in its short-term future? As I would say, I would probably expect around 20 cents of a dollar in the coming days. But of course, I could be wrong. That isn't a financial advice. All right then, so if you guys would be interested into keeping your Kaspa safe, here is a Tangem wallet. I'm not sure if you have heard about it, but basically you can sell your Kaspa directly from the wallet by Changely, which is obviously a great deal. So if you would like to basically take your Kaspa off exchanges, which I would highly recommend, that's what I did with my Kaspa. I cannot trust exchanges, especially what happened, you know, with FTX and all of these crashes, right? Like I wouldn't really want to keep my crypto on exchanges unless I really, really do have to. So with my code, you basically receive 10% off. I think that is pretty much a good deal. All right, and that's it for today's video. Hope that you have enjoyed that quick Kaspa update and have a great day. Peace and love, crypto.